Welcome everybody for the Pro Workshop. This is the pre-market trading course. This workshop is basically going to talk a lot about what we do in pre-market trading. We're going to talk about some trades that I've done. I'm going to kind of teach you a couple of ways of why we get in certain stocks and how we find these pre-market trading stocks and all those good things. And I'm going to teach you a couple of strategies. Now, I want all of you guys to know one very important thing. I did not sleep very well last night, okay, because of this class. And the reason for that, all right, is because I am short Amazon from yesterday. Now, I did this specifically because I wanted to teach you guys this lesson of what it's like to make money and not and really like flipping out and not sleeping at night. So some of you let's see, some of you having problems with audio. If you have any problems with audio, everyone, just make sure, just tell them to log out and log back in. Okay, just let everybody know that. All right, so anyway, I want to kind of show you that position really quick before we start getting into our training class. Did everyone see what happened with Amazon? All right, well, I have Amazon from yesterday, okay? So here's my Amazon trade. I was actually up. I shorted it at 291.50, which is right here, right there. And, you know, this is some aftermarket trading. We'll talk a little bit about that. But the main reason why I shorted it is because of the Fausto flag that was building up right here. And then obviously the thing tanked, and you could see it. It's actually on 1,000 shares. It's a lot of money that we're talking here. And basically, I was up about another 10,000 on the short. But we're going to talk a little bit about it and go from there. All right, hold on one second. Is this a question problem with audio? Let me see if I can help out with the audio really quick. Oops. So basically, that's where we're at with the stock position that I'm in. And basically, that's the stock that I traded, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, but I'm watching it really, really closely because I don't want to give away a nice little profit, but I'm going to talk a little bit about it when we get closer to the end of today's presentation and tell you a little bit about, you know, how to handle a situation like that. But I'm a little groggy this morning because I couldn't sleep. I think I only had about 3 hours sleep. I don't like doing things like I did, but I want to do this exclusively for you guys regarding about after-hours trading. So let me go out there and just change a slide here. A couple of things we're going to learn. We're going to talk about picking the most tradable stocks, moving in any given day, shadow high-frequency trades in the pre-market, see support and resistance levels. Use time in sales to confirm executed iceberg orders, show why support and resistance levels get broken, stop reading charts backwards, and much, much more. All right, now, can everyone see that okay? Because Steve said he can't see the slideshow. Can everyone see the slideshow okay? Okay, good. All right, so these are things we're going to talk about. So let's get right into and talk about trading in the morning. All right, now, when it comes to trading in the morning, it is very, very important that you guys get ready, get focused, get everything out of the way. Some of you guys have kids, get them off to school. You do not want to be bothered when it comes to trading. Now, a lot of you, I'm going to show you guys some really, really interesting things of why some of you guys need to be a lot more focused when it comes to trading than when it comes to going out there and just waking up in the morning and turning on and say, okay, what time does the meeting start with Cyber Group? 9 o'clock? Okay, I got 5 minutes. That's not how you're supposed to trade when it goes into, you know, when you're trading in the markets. You got to have a game plan. You got to get ready. You got to have a good breakfast. If you're going to work out in the morning, get it done early. But you have to be there because in the mornings, because this is the most critical time when you're going to see what's happening, where you're going to make most of your money. Now, log into Cyber Group room. Listen, the room opens up at 8:30. You should be in the room around 8 a.m. Live broadcast starts at 9. Now, what I want to show you is this. Okay, this is yesterday's screenshot. I took this photo at 8:03 yesterday. Okay. Now, some of you there might see some names, very familiar names. And the reason why I'm doing this is because, and there's some people that are logged in here that are on the West Coast, meaning at 8 o'clock, they're logged in at 5 a.m. in the morning. All right. Now, for some of you on the East Coast, is it really that hard to log in at 8 in the morning? Log in early, because one thing I always tell everybody, early bird gets the worm. All right. And if you're not logged in early, you're basically, and you're waiting last minute, because I get really upset. When I see you guys logged in there early enough at 8 o'clock in the morning, I kind of get very upset. I'm like, because then I get phone calls from people, Fausto, I'm not getting in. I'm still not seeing things. Well, did you wake up early enough and go to work? Remember, this is your job. Okay. Now, I know that none of you here feel like, I'm not getting paid. It's not like I'm going to work. I'm getting paid for it. Yeah, well, you know what? This is your job. Okay. And when the room opens up, a lot of the action happens at 8:30. Okay. So let me explain to you a little bit about the markets. Some stocks trade globally around the world. All right. Now, what happens is the market technically really opens up. The markets are really open up around 6 a.m. in the morning. But like for example, if we look at Amazon right here, I'm going to bring Amazon right here because I'm keeping a very close eye on that stock that I'm in. If you look at Amazon, you could see right here that this stock has been trading since 6 o'clock in the morning, and you could see some volume coming in. Okay. Now, a lot of the orders, you'll start seeing them kicking in about 8:30 in the morning. That's when a lot of the program trading starts kicking in. So even though we're at 8:11 right now, and because this is Amazon and it trades globally, you are getting a lot of action in it. And if you look at the volume right now, you could see the stock traded already 200,000 shares. Now, did anyone see the stock trade after hours yesterday? Anyone logged into their execution system? Okay, because this stock, Amazon, I believe, trade like 5 or 10 million shares after hours. This thing was all over the place. So when you look at it, yeah, I know it went down to 2. I know, that's what I'm saying. I was up like 20,000, and that's why I was kind of like I couldn't sleep at night, hoping that Amazon will still be there this morning. But when it comes to trading, you have to look at the volume, and you'll see that it's going to probably start picking up in the next 15 minutes. All right, but that's not our real focus right now. Amazon. There are other ones there that are also moving, which we're going to talk about. There's stocks like DRIV that's up 48%, and there's a stock VTAE that's up 35%. We're going to talk about those a little bit later. All right, Lake. One of our big winners yesterday, we're going to talk about that also. That's making a big move. But what I'm trying to say is that, and you guys need to be here early, all right? And, and if you're there early, you're going to get a good start. You're going to get a good idea what's going on, and that's going to help you make money, all right? That is rule number 1. Now, let's move on. The cyber trading floor. All right. Now, you could see here, the first thing that I like to do when I'm trading in the morning is that I like to default my charts to 2 days. So I get an idea of what happened the day before. And you could see here at 8:15, you could see a lot of, not that much pre-market going. This is from yesterday. But you could see that right now, as the stock is trading this morning, volume is light, not really doing that much. But when you look at a stock like Lake, let's bring this over right here. Look what happened here in pre-market. The stock took off. The market closed right here at the 4 o'clock. And you can see it really kind of died out. Now, I want all of you guys to know I'm not a big fan of trading after hours. I do not like to trade after hours because as the day goes on, it gets more and more less volatile, and the spread gets bigger. You see, when you're trading in the morning, you're going into an open, so it's a lot easier to trade, because the volume's going to start picking up. But when you trade after hours, unless it's a stock like Amazon, for example, you'll see that it's going to get less and less and less. So it's a little bit different before it opens up, going into an open than going into a close. That's why I'm not a big fan. But like a stock like Amazon, you know, a brand name stock, a well-known stock, you know, a stock that actually could move the market substantially, you know, and a stock at that price that a lot of people do own, big difference. So try to be more of a after hours, a pre-market trader than an after hours trader. So when you log into the morning, always default your chart to 2 days. So you get an idea where you are, where support, where resistance levels are, and that basically gives you a sense of direction where the stock is going. And let me see if I can find one for you that will look a little understand. This one, you know what? This one might work. Here's Microsoft. Okay, so Microsoft, you could see, had huge after-hours trading. Why do you see so many bars like this? Can anybody tell me? What happened here with Microsoft? Well, Justin, well, you could see that. Earnings, absolutely. And you could see the stock obviously pulled up. Now, this is how it's going to help you learn how to trade a little bit more on support resistance levels. But when you see what happened after hours, you could use after hours to help you understand where support and resistance levels. Now, remember, what's over here on the right, this is what's going on right now. On the left, this little hash bar, this is day 1 on the left, this is day 2 on the right. So you could see, hold on, let me get my crayons out here. This is day 1. I mean, this is day 1, and that's yesterday. That's day 2. That's yesterday. So you can see right here how you got support levels there and support levels there. Big difference right there. So that's going to help you give a little bit of a sense of direction of where support and resistance level is. So that's why I always kind of use these support and resistance levels the day before. Now, how do we find stocks going into the morning? Well, a lot of you here already know what we do is we go through the top 20 list. All right, we'll go through the top 20 list and we'll see what's moving in pre-market. So let's bring back our chart. And remember, a lot of the execution systems will automatically start testing and telling you what's moving in pre-market. And a lot of them are dynamic, and they'll start doing it minute by minute. So as we're going through the top 20 list, you'll see, and let me try to change this a little bit more. Hold on. Let me see if I can get a little bit better of a I always have different layouts. To kind of help us a little bit more on, oops, wrong one. Okay, it's probably a little bit easier to read right here. Okay, so we're going to look at the big gainers right now, and you could see when I defaulted to a 2-day chart and I go back, you could see right here that you could see a substantial move. And just to let you know, this stock right here is up 48%, up $8. By looking at the chart, do you guys know why this stock, what happened to this stock right here? What's going on with DRIV? It's a buyout. I don't even know it's a buyout. I bet if you look up the news, I'm 99% sure it's a buyout. How do I know it's a buyout? Because look at the trend of the stock. What is it moving? It went from 25.72 to 25.86, and when you make it in the 2-day chart, look at that big jump. It's completely flatlined. So it's time to, you guys know that every time I do morning meetings, when I do the cyber group meeting, I say, oh, there's a buyout, and they're like, how did you know? You could just tell by what it's moving, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I don't want you guys to get caught in a situation like, oh, the stock is moving, great volume, big mover. You jump into the stock and like, why isn't it not going anywhere? When's it going? I see all these big high-frequency trades. I see all these big block orders, and nothing's going on. Okay, Brett's actually saying Digital River acquired Investors Group, leading Sirius Capital Group for $26 a share in cash. I love that word, cash. Pretty soon, hopefully, I don't know if we're going to still probably have cash, but I always love that word, cash. Anyway, so now we have a little bit of an idea of what's going on in that stock just by looking at that. So we'll go through the list. Actually, let me bring this back down. All right, and we'll just constantly keep going through the list and finding stocks that have good volume. Now, remember, why don't we trade buyouts? Because Rosie, they're not going anywhere. They've been bought out already. It's not going to go anywhere. It's finished. It's done. Party's over. Looking at certain stocks that are moving in the market, though, what we look at is we have to look at the volume, and I like to trade at stocks that have at least a minimum of, by 9 o'clock, it should have at least 15,000 shares. All right. So here you have a stock that is up. What is that? 35%. It's up $3. And, looking at it, you could see it's got some good volatility in pre-market. And if you look a little closely here, you could see that things a little bit all over the place. Now, I don't know if the stock's going to be too tradable right now, but what I'm going to do before I do my meeting is I write down the stock symbols. So does everyone have a legal pad in front of them? Everybody should have a legal pad. All right? So you have a legal pad next to you. You write the date, 10/24. And then now I'm going to put this stock on my watch list. Now remember, I don't know if this stock really is going to be that tradable yet until it opens up a little bit, but we have a lot of stocks to work our way down that list, like Lake. Lake, we know about it. It's already traded 270,000 shares. Now, Lake, we all know we did very, very well with all the Ebola stocks yesterday because there was one case, of a guy, a doctor here in New York, and which, boom, took everything off. Once again, remember what I always taught you. Unfortunately, catastrophes make for opportunities. So there's a situation. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more in detail about these stocks right here, but about the pre-market. But I still want to go over some of the steps that are involved when it goes into the pre-market trade. But the thing I want you guys all to know is everyone always asks, how did you find that stock? How did you find that stock? Well, just being in the cyber group room, you all know it's all about going through every single one of those stocks. And then remember, in lesson 1, remember we talked about tradable and non-tradable? Remember the 3 T's? Tradable, trend, and trap? Okay, you need to see those 3 T's, and the first T is the most critical one because that's the most expensive part of the trade. So you need to know your 3 T's. And that's how you basically pick the stock that you like most, and that's how I go through it. Now, there's a lot of stocks to trade in the market, a lot of them. And remember, when we do the morning meetings and I'm going through the stocks, we all know you can't trade every single one of them. And not all of them are really a stock that we're going to probably trade, but these are the ones that are obviously moving due to, like, for example, Amazon, because of their earnings. Microsoft, due to earnings, Lake, IBIO, ATP, all those are moving due to what happened, with the Ebola stocks and everything else. So, but they're going to be trading in the pre-market. And remember, what technically is pre-market? What's going on? Who has access to it? Anyone that has direct access has access to the pre-market. So that's the VIP service that's going on. But remember I keep telling you, all of you, to come and join all the free webinars like the one I did yesterday and the day before, okay? What's great about those free webinars is, remember what I said yesterday afternoon's meeting, and I told you, and I said, listen, these are the people you're competing against. Okay, the exchanges don't care who's the winner and who's the loser. They don't have a fan. All they care about is volume. Every time you hit that button, they make money, okay? That's how they make money on the ticket charges. Not just your brokerage firm, but there's the SEC that wants you to trade. They make money on your tickets. You ever look at all those taxes that you pay on your tickets, all that stuff? So they want you to trade. So they're going to do believe me, if they could make the exchange 24 hours, they would. All right? But there are a lot of stocks to trade, and you got to go through phase one when I talk about tradable and non-tradable. Now, it's kind of difficult to see tradable and non-tradable stocks in pre-market because we're going into an open. Market makers are still not at their desks right now, but as they're rolling in, you'll see them in there, and you'll start seeing the spreads, depending on the volatility, get tighter and tighter. Pick the stocks with the least amount of risk with the high amount of reward. That is basically what we look at. Now, remember, there's a lot of stocks out there that are trading. Now, Amazon, I'm short. That's a level 5 stock. I could trade a level 5 stock. Okay, there's only about 10% of you in the cyber group room that have been over here trading with me for over a year to 2 years that can trade, a level 5 stock. But there are some of you here that can't. And you know what? It's okay because there are stocks like the IBIO that is a level 1 stock, okay? And you could see it. Here's pre-market. Trade about 1 million shares so far. It's one of the stocks that I owned from yesterday, one of the Ebola stocks. Look at it. Level 1 stock. Good spread. You can get in. You can get out. You got a lot of pre-market trading. This stock is going to be extremely tradable for every single one of you to trade. So that's the beauty about trading this one. Well, that's good, Justin. And once again, great traders never stop learning. So, and every time you keep watching phase 3 over and over again, the live trading, you'll learn something new every single time because they're all different. All right, update your ticker and your watch list. Now, the ticker is very, very critical in the watch list because, the whole idea is you can't write down every single one of them that you want to trade. And not only that, but you want to make sure you're trading stocks that are moving in the market. So what I do in the first thing in the morning, what I'll get into is I'll come down here, I'll bring down my execution system, all right, and I'll start highlighting the stocks that I'm in. Amazon. IBIO. I keep JetBlue there because I own that one. INFN. Okay, so here are your stocks right here. Now the ticker, I don't know if everyone here has a ticker. Where's my ticker? Where's my ticker? Why am I? Oh, there's ticker 1 right there. Okay, so here's a ticker. Now, a ticker is very important. I talked about this in phase 2, but when you go to your ticker, I already got some of the Ebola stocks already here, and if I put Amazon in here and click Save. Okay, so now the ticker is a very, very important tool because now I can see what's happening in the pre-market. So whenever there's a new bid, a new offer, I know that what that is an uptick or a downtick. That means when the stock upticks, which is that green arrow right here, I know that there's a new bid, a new offer. Instead of sitting there and going back and opening up multiple level 2s. Now, that's a mistake I see a lot of people do. A lot of people feel they need a lot of screens, they need a lot of windows, and then all of a sudden they keep putting new, they got to open up all these level 2s. So it makes things very, very confusing. Now, if you look at the ticker, if you notice, there is something what we call eating up the ticker. And the one that eats up the ticker most of all is Amazon. All right. So now, and that's what happens when you also put brand name stocks out there. So what I would need to do is I need to remove Amazon from my ticker. Because the ticker should only have something that is not going to be rapidly changing with new bids and offers very, very frequently. Okay, so I leave the ticker for stocks that level 1, level 2 stocks. But when I deal with stocks with big spreads, the ticker will change very, very the ticker will change really, really quickly, and it'll eat up my ticker, and I won't be able to see really technically new bids and offers. This should really run really slow. It should not run very, very fast. And not only that, but like, for example, like Lake is moving. Boom, you click on it, you could see what's going on with Lake. IBIO, there's a new bid and offer. Boom, you go to new IBIO. So the ticker is also very important to set up when we go through our watch list in the morning. So that's another feature that I do to get me ready. Remember, you got to be 110% ready when market's trading. You can't sit there and, oh, let me start adding it now, and, oh, I didn't do it yet, and do this. Listen, if you don't get prepared, you're going to get really hurt. So these are the two things you got to get ready the first thing when it comes in the morning. Having all windows linked. All right. Now, a lot of you here, you got to remember, when it comes to linking, make sure that your execution system has all the windows linked together. All right. Now, I know some of you here don't have your total view linked because some of the brokerage firms don't offer it. So, yes, you're going to need to, then you need to kind of like multitask and go back and forth, have one window, your total view in one window and have the other one in this window. So that's the bad thing. But if you do have a good execution system and it does have it, just make sure everything is linked together. I can't tell you how many times we've done mechanics courses for people, and a lot of you here take coaching courses. Actually, that's one of the big things that we do in coaching. I know some of you do coaching, but the first thing we do in coaching is we look at your execution system, make sure it's set up properly, because I'll tell you, sometimes we look at some of your execution systems, and it's completely a mess. So, and like I said, some of you know who already are doing coaching with CyberTrading University. It's one of the things that's the first mistake that I notice. And the second mistake is nothing is linked together. You pay a lot, you're paying a brokerage firm, let them make sure they have everything linked for you. Looking for pre-market activity. All right, so the pre-market activity obviously is going to reflect what's happening in the market. Now, here's a stock that's trading at 8:30 in the morning, and remember, this is an hour from now. Gurn, a lot of you guys remember the stock Gurn. This stock was already up 34%, 1.6 million shares already traded, 1.6 million shares traded. And when you look at it, the stock is filling in the gap, and you could see, one thing that I like to look at is you could see you have a lot of pre-market trading, and pre-market trading makes support resistance levels. Now, I want to address something that you guys hear a lot of. A lot of you hear hear a lot about gapping. Everybody know what gap trading is? Okay, gap trading, when the stock gaps up, they're like, oh, it's going to fill in the gap. But, like right here, you say it fills in the gap right here in the middle. Let me get my crayon so I can show you guys. Meanwhile, the stock is filling in the gap. But remember, this pre-market trading also is going to make support and resistance levels. So when the market opens up during the day, you still need to look at what happened in the pre-market. You could still find support and resistance levels. Because remember, everybody, what makes support and resistance levels on a chart? That's everybody needs to chat this in there. I want to make sure everybody's wide awake. Supply and demand. Come on. Everybody, supply and demand. Good. Let me clear this out, get back to my pen, and change the slide. So those things right there are going to make you have a game plan where to get the supply and demand, so you'll know why these support and resistance levels are going to help build support and resistance levels when the market opens up. So when people look at it and says, oh, well, I'm looking at the chart and it's filling in the gap, and they're like, listen, yeah, there's no gap here, but it's trading in pre-market, so you technically do have support and resistance levels. So always keep that in mind. Do you look Lori has a question. Do you look back several days for support and resistance just in pre-market? Lori, you look back as far as it takes for you to find support and resistance levels. All right, and the consistency of support and resistance levels. That's what you need to do. All right, now the most classic thing of everything is obviously the ECN book. All right, now remember what ECN book stands for: Electronic Communication Network. Okay, NASDAQ is an ECN. You have access to an ECN, and NASDAQ is the ECN. So with the ECN book, what we look for is the high-frequency trades. Now, let me tell you, yesterday was a classic day that happened when we saw that 270,000 share seller out there. Who remembers the symbol of the stock? Who remembers the symbol of the stock that we saw yesterday of the high-frequency trade? That's right, INFN. Okay, we're going to talk about it today. But INFN, basically, you could see that order getting executed, and not only that, but he only got executed, I think, only 100,000 shares, and he pulled the other 150. Okay, and then the IFN at that resistance levels of 13, the thing took off. But there's a lot of pre-market trading that's going on in the market, and remember. Go to your, try to bring this up right here if she's coming up. Wait for it to come back up. Just bring up the ECN book right here. She's not cooperating. Maybe go over here. Oh, there we go. Just going to get the ECN book and bring it up. Just give me a second here. Let's go to Data Star. Let me launch it. There we go. Okay. So here's the ECN book. Every time I do that, it always kind of gets dirty. There you go. And, you'll see, like, for example, NASDAQ right now, the QQQs right here is trading. And you can see what NASDAQ's doing right now in the market. You can see what the QQQs are doing. But remember, always aggregate the orders. All right. Now, obviously, we got a couple of positions right now. Amazon, because you get an idea what's going on Amazon, and make you show more here. So now you get to see all the block trades. You want to always know where the block trades are. And we'll come back and we'll check that out in a little bit. But in the pre-market, always look for those big block orders out there. Always have a game plan, know where they are at all times. Now remember, we also tweet and text these messages, and I know a lot of you here, I don't know if everyone's set up, but everyone should have their Twitter and text set up. If you're a gold and platinum student, you get this for free. You can also, gold gets them. You have you get the year subscription, and then obviously if you move forward, you can get the Twitter. You could just get Twitter and text messaging, but you need to have these things up and running, because sometimes maybe you're on the road and you don't know what's really going on, and you're hearing some big news, and we set it up where you could just click on it and it'll bring it to a stock symbol. Just got a tweet from Lake going down. There you go, Gene. Well, that's what we do. So you get a little bit of an idea, and we'll keep you up to speed, what's going on. I'm tweeting and texting, and we don't tweet and text too much. I think we try to do it. We try to keep it to a minimum, even the text messaging, because we don't want to harass you all. Only if something's really, really outgoing. Like I did one yesterday regarding about the Amazon trade. So hopefully everybody got that one. But we try to keep it to like maximum 10, but a minimum of like 3 to 5 a day. Now, let's talk about going into the open. Now, the first 5 minutes, remember, you got to be really careful the first 5 minutes. I talk about this all the time because there's a lot of chaos going on. Now, I'm usually around like 9:15 to 9:30. I really don't like to do any trades because now it's just chaos going on right now. Really, there's no direction. People finally came in. A lot of people did their trades around 8:30. Most of the action happens at 8:30. So by that time, everyone's playing their games. They know what's going on. And then right around the 9:15, everyone's just sitting, putting their hands under their lap, under their on their butt, just sitting on their hands and waiting until the market opens up. But the first 5 minutes gets really chaotic, and a lot of you guys should know that already. So if you're not in your pre-market trades already, don't be trading for that first 5 minutes. If you trade, do you get out? You know what, Tracy? It's going to be very, very shaky. You know the shakes. I taught you guys about the shakes. I told you a lot about them. You got to be really careful. It gets very, very, very volatile when it comes to those shakes. So you don't really want to be involved in that situation. Now, having a game plan. Now, the game plan is always the most important part. I always stress it more than anything, the game plan. And then one of the big game plans is keeping an eye on those iceberg orders. When you're trading in the pre-market, always see and follow the total view and the time in sales. You see big block orders out there. You see even little orders out there. See if those orders get executed. And then you have a game plan. You're like, oh, look, the buyers are coming in. And remember, there are people still showing up to work. I mean, granted, we got, over 70 people in here today, 71? Well, before we started, there was only like 40, So now, like anything else, everybody knows the market opens up at 9:30. So somebody's coming in right now and saying, oh, look, Amazon is down right now. I'm going to short it now. Now I'm going to short it, from yesterday. So, it's like rush hour traffic, okay? So we all know how to beat the traffic if you want to beat rush hour. Here in New York, if you leave like I think they say every minute that goes by after, I think, 7:30 in the morning, there's over 6,000 drivers on the road. So if you wait 10 minutes, you're going to be dealing with 60,000 more drivers, which is going to make more and more traffic. I know it sounds crazy, but the same thing with trading. As you're getting closer, people are starting to show up. They're starting to see something, and then you're going to miss the run. But you're going to see a lot of that action happening in that pre-market. Now, what is going to what's the stock's going? What is this stock going to do? Let's look at this example right here. A couple of questions time. Seem like many times stocks that are up in the pre-market drop initially, sometimes dramatically at the open, but they return a few minutes later. Well, also you got to remember, Steve. Yes, that is true, but it also depends on their volatility. So, like for example, what was the stock that I traded yesterday that I didn't like and I was losing money in? Remember, I said, you know what? It's up a little too much for me. Was it Jake? Remember? I says, you know what? I like this stock, but it's up a lot, And guess what? If you had a stock, how about the stock that I traded the other day? That was up 250%. Remember that one? What was it? The RGLS? And I says, you know what? This stock's up way too much in pre-market. I'm going to get out. And thank God we did get out, because even though when it opened, when we were in it, it was up 250, and when the market opened, it was only up 100% on the day. So it's very, very important that you look at those things. Doug has a question. Are you out of most of your pre-market position before the market opens up? It depends. It depends on the stock. Like, for example, you know what? If you made enough money and you're happy with it, like we did yesterday, and we actually had to jump back into it, the INFN, that's one thing. You know what? The goal is, if you made your day's pay, and if you made in the pre-market, how great is to just go home and spend more time with your spouse or going back to work? You don't need to be here all day. And I think a lot of you guys have to start building and start learning that in your trading, because there were some of you that sent me your emails even yesterday. I think Daljit sent me one yesterday. He says, Fausto, I had a great open, and they gave it back in the last 2 trades. You know what? He could have called it quits just on his first trade, but he wanted to go back in there and he wanted to trade and try to make more. I saw it, but that's a lesson learned, right, Dalshat? You know that. So let's look at this example right here. Okay, here's a stock, a lot of pre-market trading. Now the market opens up at 9:30. Now the stock is trending up. All right. So if you look at this example right here, the first thing you need to look at is the iceberg orders. Okay. Now, looking at iceberg orders, you could see there's a big, big seller at 41,000 shares at 488. Now, when I change this slide right here, let me see if it should. Yeah, there we go. Okay, good. All right. So the thing I also want to point out to you is that pre-market trading has a lot to do with resistance levels. Now, this resistance level right here, let me get my crayons again. That resistance level's right there. That is $4.80. That is that big seller right here, okay? And now the market's opened up, and you're like, well, where's the resistance levels? Well, people don't realize that that resistance level, okay, in the past, that guy probably was still out there from 8 o'clock in the morning. And not only that, but when you look long-term chart right here, you could see clear as day. You got resistance levels there. You got support, support levels there. So, and look at the time right now. So, remember what I said earlier about game plan. All right, here you have the stock. The stock opens up 9:30. Now you jump in. You're at a price of 335. Stock's going up right now. You at at 435. You're at 436. You're up 30 cents, and you're like, my God, the market's only up 30 minutes. Well, when you look at this chart, you're like, wow, this stock's up a lot. This is the problem that you guys are going to learn with experience, because then in the back of your mind, you're like, okay, when do I get out? What's my game plan? And there are so many of you that do not have a game plan. And remember, not only is there a major resistance levels at 480, but what do we know about 480? What could everyone tell me about 480? What's the problem with that number 480? It's a round number. Remember, never sell. Forget about the big order. The round number. Don't sell or buy things that end in zeros and fives. Remember, how many times did I tell you that? Okay? So there you have another example. But if you went out a penny before or a couple of pennies before, you cut the line by 40,000 shares. All right? Now remember, the stock is trading, but you want to have a game plan. So the thing about this, what we're trying to learn, I'm trying to explain in this example, is that pre-market trading has a lot to do with support and resistance levels. And not only do you see it on the high-frequency trade, but you also see it you could also see it due to that pre-market. All right, let's change the slide here. Where's the support level? Well, forget about the support level. Let's worry about the resistance level. You're making money. My explanation here, John, is not about the support. The question is the resistance. All right. Now, if we're talking about support levels, I mean, listen, we know support levels are here around 335, but here around 435, but at 450, you could see if you look over here on the high frequency trades, at 449, you got a 3,500 share buyer. Big difference from a 100 share buyer. But that's not our goal. Our goal is the stock's going up. You see the time in sales, all the greens going on. Well, the whole idea is when to take a profit. So this has a lot to do with entries and exits. So here's another example with the stock Lulu. Okay, Lulu, this stock right here traded 11 million shares, okay? And look at all the pre-market trading that was happening right there. Tons and tons of pre-market. Now, the whole idea is most people will be looking at this stock and be like, oh, the stock's filling in the gap right here. It's going up. You know how I like to bottom fish. So the stock is going up, and you're looking over here on the right on the one-day chart, and you're like, okay, where's the resistance levels? Where do I get out? Well, you could use pre-market trading to get a game plan to know where resistance levels are. And a lot of you, if you don't have, and I notice a lot, but a lot of you probably didn't realize that you had access to pre-market trading or the charts. You didn't have it set up. And now you're starting to realize, oh, now you have it set up. Now you can kind of find support and resistance levels a lot easier. So where is the stock where is the stock going to do? Well, the thing is this. Here's the pre-market. The stock is going up. The game plan is this. Where's the resistance levels? Well, remember what I always taught you. You always draw trend lines. And let me get that. Always draw a trend line. And then if the stock is trending up, and you obviously can't see anything more than this, you could see here you got support levels here, you got support levels there, you got resistance levels here, you got that one there, you got some right here, you got some right here. So it looks like the stock is moving in 50-cent intervals, basically. So if the stock was to break this resistance levels at 35, 38, 40, 38.50, let's say, it's going to probably go to not 39, but 38.45. Let's just say that's what it is. 39, then 39.50, and so on. Now, what are we learning from this valuable lesson? Having a game plan. Tracy says, other than the chart, what told you to enter? Well, we're looking at it right now, Tracy. The high-frequency trade, okay? Knowing where the big iceberg order is. Remember, what makes a stock go up and go down, Tracy? What makes a stock go up and down, Tracy? Could you answer that for me? Supply and demand. And where do we find supply and demand, Tracy? Where do we find the book viewer? Very good. Okay, you're level 3. So now, and the reason why, because the reason I'm kind of explaining to Tracy a little bit more, and this is why I like everyone to be in these courses, because it's the best time to do it, because everybody kind of has the same question that comes up. Even Sherry was even asking same question. You have to remember, if you don't see it and you don't have that light bulb, what that means is that you're basically trading a stock that's moving too fast. If you can't see that light bulb, that means that you're trading a stock way too fast, okay? And you got to go back to your levels. So here you are, and going back to Tracy's question, how did you know, other than looking at the chart, look at 38.50. See how the stock came down from pre-market? Okay, we saw that big seller out there on total view, and you could see a lot had to do due to what happened, at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's what made that resistance levels. That's right, and that guy was on the ask. Very good. Okay, a couple of questions coming across here. Often you pre-market trade TTV and more orders and ask, I noticed. So you consider the imbalance before the open, or you wait until 9:35 to focus on the big bucks? Well, David, I always focus in pre-market because I make most of my money in pre-market, jumping in before everybody else jumps in, because you kind of have a little bit of a game plan. But then but then when we do the 9 o'clock meeting, that sometimes we find stocks. Some of them also don't always pan out. But when you wait the first 5 minutes, then you'll see the big orders come in. All right, so we got a few more slides to go here, and we're almost done. Wow, time flies in an hour, right? 9:30, 9 o'clock morning meeting is going to be coming up shortly. All right, so here you have RH. Here you can see what's happening with pre-market. You could see that the stock was extremely volatile. But my point that I want to get to here is that you can use a lot of the pre-market trading to get a bit of a game plan. Hold on one second. I might have to cover my Amazon trade. Just show you guys right here. Just to kind of give you guys a little bit of a game plan here. Amazon just popped, but we're going up to a resistance levels right here. And I'm just going to look at total view right here. I'm just going to keep an eye on if there's any big block orders. This is the problem when you trade a very expensive stock. You don't see very big iceberg orders, okay? That is one of the major problems why I kind of always veer you away from trading stocks like this. Just kind of give you guys a little heads up on that. But you could see that pre-market definitely had a lot to do with it. how the stock went from 23, 283.75. Now it just backed off. You see that candlestick right there? So what I'm going to do is if that stock breaks that resistance levels right there, I mean, it just basically ran about almost $4 on me. I will cover my short. All right, just letting you guys know. I got one eye on this, and I got one eye on my other screen, so don't mind me. All right, let's check some stocks that we traded. So we're going to talk about the stocks that we trade in pre-market. We did talk about a few of them: the Amazon, the Ebola stocks. So you know, and we're going to be doing the 9 o'clock meeting right now in about 5 minutes. So we're going to go through and find some of those pre-market market stocks. Now, does anybody have any questions before limit orders only? Yes, Tracy. You can only put limit orders out there in pre-market. You could only buy and sell that someone's going to sell it to you. That you cannot do a market order. You could actually, but if you see an order out there, you have to select him and pick him. That's how you have to do it. When you say that you cover your short, what do? You just buy it back. When you cover a short, you're hitting the buy button. That's what you're doing. Do you only okay, Andrew, the question, does it take you a little bit to get filled in pre-market? If you put a limit order out there and you trade a stock that doesn't have a lot of volume out, yes, absolutely. By the way, I'm going to buy back. I just bought back my, I got out. All right, I just bought back my Amazon. I bought it back at 284.10. I just got back into it. It kind of broke that resistance level, so I'm just going to take the profit. So I gave back an extra 4,000, so I ended up making about 7,000. Not bad for a nightcap. I couldn't sleep. I hate doing that, but I did it for you guys. I wanted to show you what it was like in pre-market. Do you say pre-market orders need to be done by 8:30? Well, a lot of the orders, John, program trading comes in around 8:30 in the morning. That's why you'll start seeing a lot of activity happening at 9:30. At 8:30, I apologize, 8:30. Gina's question, Fausto, I find that many orders to sell are not executed very quickly in pre-market, and sometimes it's delayed cost me. Well, that's why, Gene, you know, sometimes you just got to force into the trade. What you do is you do a limit order, and you see the guy out there, and you could execute him directly. Your broker does not let you trade between 9:25 and 9:30. It's a common for brokerage firms. No, I never heard that before in my life, Tracy. Deborah, who's your broker? Schwab. Okay, well, are you using their Street Smart Edge platform? Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to probably have to change, Deborah, because you can't tell me. They do that on purpose because they can't maybe route the orders and don't know what to do, and their dark pools are not going to work. But absolutely not. That is unacceptable. All right, everybody. So once again, we got about a minute before the meeting starts. Hopefully, everybody learned a lot from the pre-market. We are going to be doing another one. This has been recorded. Just understand, you have to learn before you can earn. Thanks for coming. Remember, 10% trading, 90% training. Most of your time is being spent on education, not trading. The goal is you make your money, make your day's pay, and taking what you learn and being in class. All right? And if anybody has any questions, feel free to email me. Guys, thank you so much. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. What I want all you guys to do right now is log into the Cyber Group room. We'll talk a little bit about what just happened, and we're going to go through some of the stock picks and talk about what just happened with some of the pre-market trades. We'll talk about Amazon. We'll talk about some of the other ones that are moving in the market. Yes, this has been recorded, and it will be up there in the next day or so. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you all in the Cyber Group room.